Lost sheep, lost coin, lost son. To understand a little bit more about the woman who lost one of her wedding coins, when a man wanted to marry a woman, he had to pay her family a dowry. This was for several reasons. One, a young single daughter was an asset to the family. She contributed to the wealth of that family and the upkeep. So when she left her family, she actually joined the husband's family and became an asset for them. So a certain amount had to be paid. But a portion of what was paid was actually for the woman herself. It was in case something happened. Divorce, the marriage breaks up, the death of the husband, whatever, and the girl would come back to her father's household. This money would be to help her to live. So one of the things they did oftentimes is they would take the woman's portion and they would give it to her as coins. She would then make this into a special headdress that she could wear. It was decorative, that's true, but it was also practical, because if the marriage turned bad and she was sent away, she could only take what she could wear. She could put on layers, but only what she was wearing could she. So the dowry was put on her as a headdress. Now when she's lost one of these, this was a shame. It was not only valuable to her personally and to her family, but also to her husband. There was a certain amount of superstition. If she lost one of these coins, bad things were going to happen to the family. She did not want the menfolk to hear that she lost that coin. She was desperate. And you have to understand that the house was kind of a dark place. It had one door, maybe a small window, sometimes two, but very small, and so it wasn't a very bright place. And when she swept, the floors were not clear. There was rugs and the animal skins and the various things on the floor. So she had to literally clean everything up. And also the house came in two levels. There was a lower level, which oftentimes was just a soil packed down, sometimes with tile on it. Then there was the upper, just a kind of a platform area where the family mostly lived. So it was basically a lot to go through. She had to light the lamp and carefully move when she says sweep everything, she had to sweep the place. She had to, not with a broom necessarily, but sweep the whole place, moving everything and cleaning everything, looking for that coin. And when she found it, she was relieved. It says that she called in her friends and her neighbors. These were all women. Only the women would understand the seriousness of this. And when all the rejoicing is over, none of them would tell the menfolk what happened. You have in the story of the son, the lost son, you have the fatted calf compared to the young goat, the kid. The fatted calf was selected out of the herd and was allowed to eat anything it wanted to eat. Matter of fact, they force-fed that thing because it was used for celebration, special occasions, very special occasions. It was the top of the meat eating of the farm. Below it would be a lamb. At the bottom would be a young goat. The meat was more tough. And it was common. And so the older son was comparing the fatted calf, not to a lamb, but to a young goat. The inheritance. The father did not have to divide up the inheritance. That usually happened when he died. Yet there was occasions when they did have it. David did it just before his death. It was actually Abraham divided it up before his death. But generally speaking, it was not done. When it was done, the older brother, in this case, since there was only 2 sons, daughters didn't get any of the inheritances all unless there were no sons. So there were only 2 sons, which means that the older son got twice so much. He got the double portion. So in this case, he would get 2/3 of the inheritance, where the younger son would get 1/3. But on top of that, it meant that since the younger son had spent the 1/3, all that was left was the 2/3, which means the older brother owned it all. When the celebration was done and the rejoicing was over, it was time to go back to work. The younger son did not own anything, and his boss was the older son, his older brother. That's why the father really wanted the older brother to get on board with this. Well, come back next week when we give you more insights on the story of the week. We'll see you next week.